Sangam.
Sangam literature.
Sangam Sahitya.
The time period of this literature lies somewhere between 300 BCE to 300
AD.
Common Era. By the way, it also varies depending upon your source you are referring to. If you go during this age, there was a person whose name was Kovalam. He was the son of a merchant, and by the time he reaches his 16 years of age, he was got married off with a girl. Her name was
Kannaki. Kannaki.
Kannaki or Kannagi.
Hmm.
Initially, they were loving each other like Shah Jahan loved Mumtaz or Mumtaz loved Shah Jahan. But what happens that this Kovalam comes in the contact of a courtesan who was well known as Madhavi. Madhavi. He became mad behind her beauty and her sense of humor. Therefore, what happened that Kovalam left Kannaki. Kannaki was also the daughter of a merchant. And when Kovalam left, Kovalam again married off with this Madhavi and leaves the Mathura city. They were living happily. They also got one girl after this marriage with Madhavi, whose name was Madi Mekhalai. Madi Mekhalai. On a certain day, what happens that a festival was being celebrated by both of them. That festival was based upon the worship of Indra. And during that worship, a misunderstanding gets developed between Kovalam and Madhavi. And due to this misunderstanding, Kovalam leaves Madhavi. And when he leaves Madhavi, he starts remembering about his previous wife, as it is difficult for a man living alone, as the God has given the heart as well, which requires a companion. So Kovalam returns to Madurai, where his wife Kannaki used to live. Once he reaches to Madurai, this was known to Kannaki. In between, on his way, Kovalam informs to his parents that now I am going to start a new life. Again a new life, rather. And when he reaches to Kannaki, Kannaki welcomes her husband with open arms and wholeheartedly. But by that time, the Kovalam, who used to be a very rich person, when he comes or fell in love with Madhavi, he spends all the money which he had. You can say he became bankrupt. And as you know what Shah Jahan did behind Mumtaz. The people started dying due to hunger. There was nothing. If as we have heard that he wanted to construct one more Taj black in color. If he had done it, nobody would have left in that city. So he had spent all the money which he had when this was known to Kannaki. So Kannaki has only one piece of jewelry which she had got during the marriage of Kovalam, as it happens even now in Indian culture. That piece of jewelry was given to Kovalam as they wanted to start a new life. And Kovalam, after taking that piece of jewelry, goes to a jeweler or a goldsmith. That goldsmith was very well connected to the king of Madurai. The name of the king was Nendu Zelium. That goldsmith, he promises to Kovalam that you give me this piece of jewelry and I will fetch you very good amount of money with the help of the king Nendu. And that goldsmith, he initiates a conspiracy. And I am cutting the long story short, that Nendu, he was convinced by that goldsmith that this piece of jewelry has been stolen by Kovalam as it belongs to the queen of yours. And when Nendu realizes this thing, he orders to his soldiers to behead him before the subjects. And Kovalam was killed. This story is given in a very famous scripture that is called Silappadikaram. Silappadikaram. You can divide the whole Sangam literature in two parts. The one which is narrative in nature, that is called what? Male Kanakku. Male Kanakku. There may be little bit mistake in spelling. You can check it by referring your textbook. Male Kanakku. It was narrative in nature, and the second was didactic in nature. That was Keel Kanakku. Keel Kanakku. Male Kanakku and Keel Kanakku. Didactic in the sense it was a sort of spiritual orders or the preachings, these kinds of things were given. Updeshas. And you can further divide this Keel Kanakku as it has three things within it. One of them I have mentioned, the Silappadikaram. Silappadikaram, I have already written here. The second is Tirukulu. Yes. Tirukuluvar something. Tirukuluvar. And the last one is
Kural.
No, Tirukural comes under this Tirukular. Silappadikaram, Tirukular, and nothing, no one else but the Madi
Mekhlai.
Mekhlai. Madi Mekhlai. Silappadikaram was written by Ilangu, whose story I have discussed. Kovalam, Kannagi, Madhavi. Tiruvalluvar. Tiruvalluvar is again a very significant. It is also called the Bible of South India. You can understand how significant it is. Written by Tiruvalluvar. And the third is Madi Mekhlai. Madi Mekhlai was the name of the daughter which happens after the marriage of this Madhavi and Kovalam when they got married off. The Madi Mekhlai, she also follows the step of her mother. She also becomes the courtesan and comes in the contact of a different king, and the whole story I don't want to elaborate. The only name is important here. Madi Mekhlai. So these names we need to keep in mind, as they are very highly significant for our competitive examinations. They are writers, and all they belong to this particular area, 300 to 300. One is BCE, so almost 600 duration, years of duration. The whole Sangam literature, it was written by somewhere around 473. You can say poet or you can say writers. And out of 473, there were 30 women. So you can say the participation of women was also significant. It means women were highly educated at that time. If not highly, they were educated. Because participating in this kind of work, and this Sangam literature, why it is comparatively more important than the other literature? Because it is secular in nature. It is not like Ramayana and Mahabharata, which lacks in, you can say, in sense of science. Because we believe, there is a debate, these are the mythical things.
Mythology.
Yes, they are the part of the mythology. But this Sangam literature is a secular literature, and we have a very well organized proof of it. All literatures, all the books, they were written in Madurai, and as the word Sangama means to come somewhere or meet, a sort of, there is also a Bollywood song, Bol Radha Bol Sangam Hoga Ki Nahi. So what do you mean by Sangam? A sort of milan.
Meeting point.
Yes.
Meeting place.
So the whole Sangam literature was developed in 3 meetings. The first meeting happens in Madurai. The second happens in Kapatpuram. And the third meeting again Madurai. The first meeting was headed by Agastya, Rishi Agastya. The second was also by Agastya, and the third was by Nakirar. Clear? So these are the 3 meetings headed by 2 different persons. The 2 meetings headed by Rishi Agastya, and the third one was by Nakirar. And all these things
created,
they were compiled in all these meetings. Because before that, all those things were recited by the people. They were not in recorded form, as it happens in case of Vedas, the voice of the God. but to have them much more meaningful, they got codified. The same thing happened with this Buddhist literature. If these things haven't been codified, then we would have lost the main essence of Buddha's preaching. So they thought the codification of the preachings of Buddha is necessary. Otherwise, the message is starting from somewhere, and by the time it reaches, it will be like the money given by Rajiv Gandhi, who was sending 1 rupee and reaching 25 paisa. So the whole message will get diluted. That's why these meetings were conducted, and by and large you can understand that the writings is giving importance about the Tamilakam. Tamilakam is present day, you can say, Tamil Nadu, and little bit connected area. So this is one of the finest source to understand the history, the art and culture of that Tamilakam area. Other than this, if you want to get the information about whom? About the 3 dynasties, those are known as Chola, Chera and Pandya. Okay, the mic is not very clear. Cheras, they were connected to the Kerala. Pandyas, they were in Madurai, and Chol, they were in this portion. The capital of Cheras was Vanji. The Pandyas' capital was Madurai, and the Cholas' capital was Urayur, which was very famous for the cotton, the production of the cotton. So, to get the knowledge about these 3 dynasties, you can refer the Sangam literature. The Nendu Zelium, he was the king of which dynasty?
Pandya.
The Pandya. There were 2 Nendu Zelium. The second Nendu Zelium, which comes after the first one, obviously the second will come after first. During that time, a war happens called Telaiya Langanam. Okay, Telaiya Langanam.
South Indian name.
It is difficult to, when I read for the first time, but what can we do? The questions are coming related to these things, so at least we have to keep in mind some of the things. Telaiya Langanam battle happens. I am not going to elaborate what was inside that battle. Now, let me tell some other things as far as because I am not going to teach right now the Chola, Chera and Pandya, as they require a different lecture. The only reference is given in connection to the Sangam literature. So, Pandya, for cotton was famous which one?
Urayur.
Yes, Cholas. Pandyas were famous for what?
Moti.
Yes, the pearl fishing. And this pearl fishing has been mentioned by Megastheneja as well. In his Indica, he has mentioned such a beneficial business and what was the reason behind such a strong economy of the Pandyas? The pearl fishing. You can say that time they had monopolized the whole pearl fishing at that time. And that's why once they also defeated the combined forces of the Cholas and Cheras. Because if you are economically stronger, naturally you will be stronger in other fronts as well. This was the reality even in the ancient time, and it is even now. The economies who are leading in the top, they are also very powerful in other fronts. So this pearl fishing has been mentioned in Indica by Megasthenes. He has elaborated that these pearls were being sold to Italy or Rome, in Oman, and in other parts, because they were highly demandable. And Megasthenes not was the only person who mentioned about it. Let me tell you, and I am very sure you have heard the name called Periplus of the Erythraean Sea.
Book.
Yes, written by an unknown writer. That book is also mentioning the growth of the pearl during these Pandyas and the secret behind a very super powerful economy of Pandyas. In other scriptures or other writings, it has been mentioned little bit in detail that how the divers, the people who were going into the ocean, how they were catching and how they were saving themselves against these big sharks. So all these details are given. The important thing is this, that the economy of Pandyas was based upon the pearl fishing in a major sense. Okay, now you can understand some other perspectives of the Chola, Chera and Pandyas. And in terms of society, as I have told you that the women were giving a good space, as they were also participated in these meetings. Apart from this, what do you think? Widow system was, sati system was there or not? Sitting on the funeral pyre, it was prevalent that time or not? It was. Yes, it was. It was. By the way, widows were also there. Whosoever is not sitting on the funeral pyre, she will remain widow. So they were not socially accepted as all. They were not socially accepted. Apart from this thing, I want to tell that basically the land, as you know, it is the most important one for crops, and at that time there was no any professionalism like going in the office and working 10 to 4 behind the glasses. So the land during this Chola, Chera and Pandya, the whole land can be divided and it is given. Again, inside this Sangam literature, as I am discussing, that whatever information we are getting, this is the major source. So the land has been divided in 5 parts. 5 parts. The one land which was used for what? For sitting silently and for amusement purpose. That was what? Any idea? Kurinj. Yes. Kurinj. It was a hilly area. It was a hilly land, you can say. Okay. The second land is called Palai. Look, there may be little bit mistake in spelling. So again I am telling you, you have to refer your textbook. Palai. Palai was a land which was arid in nature. Arid means there was no rainfall, a sort of very close to a desert. And this place was being used to loot and plunder by the people. Loot and plunder. Kurinj, Palai, Mullai. Mullai was also
Mullah.
yes, Mullai. This land was used for what? For grazing purpose. For grazing. The animals,
Charagar.
it was a meadow. People were leaving their cattle and they were grazing as much as they can. One land, the fourth one was Marudgam. Marudgam was
Maruga
mainly for the agriculture, not for.
Maruga.
Okay, it was for agriculture. It was a sort of wetland. And the fifth one is the Neetal. And this was a coastal area which was being used for the fishing and, as I have told you, the pearl and the salt making. So fishing and salt making. During these Pandyas, there was a very famous port that is known as Korkai. Korkai. This port was being used for what? For the pulse. It was connected to when what is there? Actually, the map is not there. So this Korkai port was well known for the trading of the pulse. Alright, now the last thing of my today's lecture I want to tell. This Korkai is located in Kuthukathi district inside Tamil Nadu. Okay. By the way, you need to remember Korkai as this name will be given in the examination. So, the last thing is basically related to the trade. And you may have heard the name called Srenis. Srenis basically, look, during this time what was there, that the merchants were divided in two parts. The one merchants, they were doing their business not leaving their place or wherever they are living, not leaving their territory. But the other merchants, they were involved in what? In a trade where they were going one state to another, one place to another. Inter-regional trade. And who are doing inter-regional trade, the head of that was known as Sarthwaha. Sarthwaha. And who were comparatively stable, or they were doing trade in a certain area. They were not going, means
another place.
Yes, the head of that merchant was known as what? Sreshti. Sreshti
से सेफ्टी हो गया.
Okay. So Sreshti and this Sarthwaha, they were very influential in nature. And obviously the businessmen, they are always influential. You can take the example of our present government.
Ambani brothers.
Okay, how close they are to the businessman.
Gautam Adani.
By the way, they will not accept it. or but this is you can say means is believed by majority of the people that finance is very important, and there is no any problem if we have a good relations with any business community and getting everything in a transparent manner. You can also take the example of Battle of Plassey. Do you know Battle of Plassey was funded by whom?
साहू अमीर चंद.
No, Jagat Seth.
अमीर चंद जगत सेठ is
Yes, Jagat Seth was the banker, and Jagat Seth provided money to Clive. If he were not there, by the way, someone else would be there, but he provided the money, as you know, during battle, a lots of economic resources are used. So the money was funded by that, and in return, he got a huge amount of interest, exorbitant interest he got when the Britishers won the battle. So their significance you can understand starting from an ancient era until present and in between.
in future.
Okay, so these people were very very close to the king, and sometimes by lobbying they were also getting appointed as Mahamatya or Amatya. Mahamatya was used to be the minister and very powerful minister. This term is also visible during the Mauryan Empire, if I am not wrong. Amatya, Mahamatya.
Like as Pradhan.
Okay, yes. So apart from this, they were also working as a bank. They used to provide money. There are some writings through which we can get to know that they provided money to some of the Buddhists. They wanted to start, a business or something like this. So what I want to tell you that these people, this business community, these trustees and these sadhus, they were highly influential in the society. They also issued their coins, just understand. Some inscriptions were also initiated by these people. Alright, so this was as far as the Sangam literature was concerned. We have discussed the Madimekalai, Tiruvalluvar, who wrote Tirukkular, and Silappadikaram, written by Ilango, Chol Chera Pandya, their capital, their trade, the importance of pearl during Pandya dynasty, periplus of the Erythraean, trade with Oman and Roman Empire. What was the situation of the women in the society in connection to this widow and sitting on the funeral pyre? And the last thing, we also try to know this business community, the Sreshti and Sarthwaha, and their influence to mold the point of perception of the king at that time. So it was from my side. In our next lecture, we will try to learn something else. Namaskar.